Yo guys, Ferocious here. In today's video I'm going to talk about how I use the 1 hour and 30-minute candles. By the end of the video you will exactly know how to trade reversals and continuations without getting lost in the market. Before I move on, I want to say I do not claim any of these concepts as my own. I'm just trading this day by day. The topics I'm going to talk about today are the key levels I'm using, the time frame alignment. We are going to talk about reversal and continuations, about the confirmations, how to make this mechanical, and great examples at the end of the video. The key levels I'm using on the 1 hour and 30 minute are old highs and lows to frame reversals and continuations, fair value gaps to trade continuations from the gaps, and previous candles highs and lows to frame the C2, C3 candles and so on. It would be nice if you have some basic knowledge about these concepts. The alignment I'm using to trade the 1 hour and 30 minute candles is starting on the daily, where I want to be in a daily expansion candle, and an expansion candle is qualified with a small wick on the opposite side you want to trade. So if you want to trade longs, we want to see a small wick at the bottom. If you want to trade shorts, we want to see a small wick on the top. We want to be in a 4 hour expansion candle as well, with the same qualifications as on the daily with a small wick. And from there we want to be in a 1 hour or 30 minute expansion candle as well. For me the 1 hour and 30 minute candles are exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which one I use to create my narrative on the 1 hour and 30 minute. So how do we trade the reversal on the 1 hour and 30 minute? This is starting again on the daily, where we want to be in a daily expansion candle. Inside this wick, or at the bottom part of this daily candle, we want to find a 4 hour expansion candle as well to trade this expansion, and it's the same for the 4 hour to 1 hour and 30 minute. This formation for a reversal, we want to see this form around the wick or around the open, around the bottom part of this potential 4 hour expansion candle. Same for bearish and shorts. We want to see a small wick at the top for both candles. We want to be in a daily expansion candle lower on the 4 hour, where this 4 hour expansion candle should form around the wick or the open or the top part of this daily candle, and we want to see this reversal on the 1 hour and 30 minute form around the open, the wick or the top part of this 4 hour candle to trade the actual reversal. So how do we actually engage in continuation trades? Once again, on the higher time frame, you want to be in an expansion candle on the daily and 4 hour. Same for shorts. We want to see a reversal form in this 4 hour wick around the open or around the bottom part of this expansion. So how do we trade a continuation then? After we get the reversal, we have C1, C2 from the reversal, and then C3 expansion. We can get a C4, C5, C6 expansion candle, but in my opinion it's way more high probability to wait for a new fractal. So we want to see a new C1 and C2 form with a C2 closure to trade an expansion again after this C2 closure, with this as the invalidation. This can go along with a gap as well. Same for shorts, we want to see a reversal form with a continuation within the triad. Then we can wait for a new C1, C2 formation to form to trade the C2 or C3 continuation, right? This can go within a gap, and we wait for this new formation to form. Even if we print a C3, C4, C5, we can still wait for a new C2, C3 formation to form to trade the continuation. By this you will get way high probability trades within the continuation, since after this first expansion down or up, price can consolidate, and then there's way more high probability to wait for a new fractal to continue higher, since lower time frame can consolidate a bit. Now I will go over the confirmations I'm using to trade any C2 candle on any time frame. This can be applied to the daily, 4 hour, or in this case the 1 hour and 30 minute to confirm the high or low of the day, to confirm the reversal. So the first confirmation is the one stage crack, where we can see asset 1 is taking out this old high and reversing, when asset 2 is doing the same, taking out this old high and reversing, forming this C2 closure as well on both assets. And we can see asset 3 not taking out the old high, but it is still reversing, and that's what you want to see in a cracking correlation, where all the assets are expanding away from the SMT. So this one is with old highs and lows, but we can see it at consecutive candles as well, where we can see this C2 candle is taking out previous candle's high, same for asset 2, but asset 3 is not taking out this candle's high here, but we can see all assets are taking out this old high, but then we have to look for a SMT at the consecutive candles. So the second confirmation is the two-stage crack, where we can see asset 1 is taking out this old high and forming a strength switch. So it is initially stronger by taking out this high, but then it's flipping weaker. Asset 3 is doing the same. It's taking out this old high and then it's flipping weaker here. And asset 2 is not taking out this old high, but is making a higher high and still taking out this old high. So the best asset here to trade is the asset 1 and the asset 3, since it's flipping its strength to the downside. So this one is with old highs and lows. So we have the consecutive candle SMT again for the two-stage crack, where we can see asset 1, 2 and 3 are all taking out this old high. Asset 1, C2, is taking out previous candle's high and making a lower high then. So we have this SMT. Same for asset 2, but you can see asset 3 is different. It's making a lower high here with this candle, and then with the last candle it's making a higher high. So the best assets to trade here, in my opinion, are asset 1 and 2, since they are initially stronger, but they are flipping its strength to being relatively weak against the other asset. And the last confirmation I'm using to actually frame the high or low of the day is the PSP formation. We can all see asset 1, 2 and 3 all taking out this old high, but we can see the strength and weakness based on the candle closures, where asset 3 is closing like a bearish candle, so it's indicating relative weakness inside this triad, where we can see asset 1 and 2 making a bullish closure when we take the high. So the best asset to trade here is the asset 3, since we all take out this high, so we have no SMT there, but we can see asset 3 is closing weaker, so this is the weakest asset to short. So how do I make this approach as mechanical as possible? To trade a C2 candle, one of the cracks is required. So on a daily, we can trade a C2 if there's a crack. We can trade the C3 continuation. Same for the 4 hour and same for the 1 hour and 30 minute. But the thing is, I do not need to be on every time frame in the same C2 or C3 candle. So I can trade a daily C3, a 4 hour C2, and then a 1 hour or 30 minute C3 again. So to make this mechanical, I require a C2 or C3 candle on the daily, a 4 hour C2 or C3, and for the 1 hour and 30 minute, I do require a C2 or a C3 once again, but the variants are different, right? Same for bearish, I can trade a daily C2, then a 4 hour C3, and then a 1 hour or 30 minute C2 once again, where the C2 candles are confirmed with one of the cracks I explained. So now I will go over a few examples about moves I actually traded with this logic, starting with the first one on RTY, starting on the daily. What can we see? We can see Wednesday is taking previous day low and starting to reverse. We have a small wick. This is qualifying for an expansion candle. So overall bias is very bullish, so we want to look for longs, and this is actually very great to look for. I think we have an SMT as well with YM. Yeah, we have SMT here on the lows. So we have our C2 candle on RTY on the daily. We have our crack to confirm this candle. Then we can drop to the 4 hour. We have a clear target here to target relative equal highs, a range play for the people that watch my 4 hour profiling video. Range play, range low to high. So here on the 4 hour, what are we looking for? We want to look for an expansion candle once again. So this one is actually the C2 reversal candle. We are taking the low here, the range low, and we start to reverse. YM is making a reversal signature here as well, forming the SMT here. So what can we do? We can trade potentially this candle, since this is not a very long wick. But what's easier to do, wait for the 10 AM candle to open, wait for the small wick to qualify the 10 AM candle, to trade the 10 AM 4-hour candle higher. So from here we have the daily expansion candle with the small wick. Once again, small wick. We can trade the reversal because we have SMT here. We wait for the new 10 AM 4-hour candle to open. We have a small wick. So from there we want to go to the 1 hour or 30 minute to look for an expansion candle once again, right? So what can we see here? We can see this 1 hour is closing like a C2 candle for higher prices, since the narrative is higher prices. So this closure, I do not care about this at all. The overall narrative is higher prices to this range high. So we can see 10 AM open here with a small wick on the opposite side. So we have the daily expansion candle aligned, the 4-hour 10 AM expansion candle aligned, and we have the 1-hour 10 AM expansion candle aligned. So we can look for entries around the 10 AM open. So this is basically the first example with the first fractal. I think you can narrow this down to the 30 minute as well. It's not that clean on the 30 minute, but the 1 hour is looking very clean. We have a reversal candle here, and we can look for the expansion candle once we closed above this order block. But first, great example. So the second example is on RTY once again, and this is actually after the move we just outlined. So we have the same things applied here. We are taking this high. We have SMT here on the daily low, and we have the C2 closure into an expansion here. So we're actually trading a daily C3 here. So for a C3 we do not have any SMT, or we do not need SMT, since we already have SMT here on the C2. So we can trade this as a daily continuation, since we are clearly closing strong and failing to manipulate this relevant high. This is where phase of price comes in play. So from the daily we go to the 4-hour. So what do we want to look for? We want to look for a shallow retracement down, right? We do not want to see a deep retracement to form the continuation. We have a clear gap here. So we have the 4-hour profile of a internal to external price movement here to continue higher. So a lot of people will think we do not have any clear swing formation here, but we do actually have SMT here on this low with our correlated asset to trade YM, to trade RTY, and that's YM, where we can see 10 AM is taking the 6 AM low, where this is not happening here on RTY. So we have an SMT, so technically this is a C2 candle on RTY, since YM took this low, right? So we can look for trades inside this candle if we have a 1 hour swing formation. So we go for the from the daily C3 to the 4-hour swing formation to the 1 hour swing formation. And what can we see? We can see us clearly form a swing formation here, like this on the 1 hour. What do we look for? We look for a 10 AM small wick. We get that. We have a very small wick here to trade the expansion inside this swing formation. We have our SMT to confirm the swing formation. So we have the 4-hour aligned here with a expansion candle. The daily, not that long of a wick to trade the expansion higher. So daily 4-hour into the 1 hour is aligned here once again to trade inside this candle for an expansion. So this is actually the second example. Now I will go over to the third example on NQ. This one is coupled with ES, since that's cleaner to outline like that. We can clearly see NQ is not taking out this low and reversing. So we have an SMT here on the daily. We can see ES is taking out that low. We put in the SMT and is reversing too. So what can we look for? We can look for Friday to trade to this swing high and to this high on the Triad NQ ESYM if we have an expansion candle on the daily. Assuming this is the reversal, we can look for a small wick on the daily, and we get that. So from there we have our daily bias created to trade towards this high. So then we look for the 4-hour. What's the 4-hour saying? So we already have our daily C3 candle, so we do not need any SMT on the daily. but we can look for an SMT on the 4 hour, right? So this is the 4 hour, and what can we already see? This is the 6 a.m. candle here, this candle, 6 a.m. open. What is this candle doing? On NQ. Initially NQ is stronger here, since it's making a higher low on the daily, but then it's flipping weaker here. We have the crack, and we have the C2 reversal candle here on the daily to trade the expansion higher towards this high from this order block as key level. Same for ES, it's initially weaker and it's flipping strength here and is looking for continuation from this order block higher, right? We can see 2 a.m. closed above, 6 a.m. is continuing higher with the daily logic there. So from there, what are we looking for on the lower time frame, on the 1 hour and 30 minutes? Since we have the daily C3 candle, we have the 4 hour C2 with the SMT here. Then we can look for a 1 hour swing formation, right? And what can we see here? We form a swing formation down here, like this, on ES as well, or it made equal low here, equal lows, but it doesn't matter since we have then technically an SMT here. But what do we look for here again? If I'm picking here YM, we can see YM is forming the low of the day on 7 a.m. and the 8 a.m. candle is starting to expand higher. We can see the 8 a.m. candle on NQ is taking its low and starting to expand higher. So we once again have the cracking correlation here to trade this reversal here. So if this C2 8 a.m. candle is the reversal, we can look for a continuation during the 9 a.m. as the C3. But it's already possible to trade this C2 since we have the SMT here, right? So this alignment pretty clean once again. On the daily, we'll go over it once again. We have the C2 reversal here since we have the SMT with ES. We can look for a expansion towards this high within the C3. If we get a small wick, we get that. Then we look for a move on the 4 hour again. We have the SMT here on the low. This being a C2, we do not have that long of a wick, so we can trade this expansion during the 6 a.m. candle towards the drawn liquidity. And we look for a swing formation on the 1 hour or 30 minute, and we get that down here with the SMT. So this is the third example, and now I will go over the last example. This one is on oil. We can look for a continuation play off of this gap here. We actually already formed the swing formation. So technically by trading this daily candle we are in a C3, 4, we are in C5. But what do we look for then? We look for an SMT like this. We can see HO, Monday candle, is taking Friday's low and is putting in an SMT here. So we have the SMT to trade this as an expansion candle towards this high and this high. Let me mark this up. So we have the reversal here, we have the continuation here on the daily, we have the relative small wick to trade the expansion towards this high. Then we look for the 4 hour, right, towards this high. Let me remove this one. So from there we are forming a swing formation here on the 4 hour. We have the SMT here with HO on the daily, where this is the Monday 10 a.m. candle and this is the Monday 10 a.m. candle. We have a clear SMT here. So what do we look for? We look for a swing formation on the 4 hour, and we get that. We get this C2 reversal from this previous 2 a.m. candle low. We reverse. This is our first target. But as you all know, I'm only trading the 6 a.m. candle. So this is getting interesting since the 2 a.m. is already expanding. So as we all can see, we are already reversing down here, making the C2 closure reversal. So people think, shit, I missed this move since I cannot catch any of this movement since I'm trading the 6 a.m. candle. So I missed this movement, I missed this expansion and this expansion. So what do we look for then? Like I explained, this is the reversal confirmed with SMT. We can see the SMT here again. This is an SMT as well. We have SMT here, as y'all can see, making a higher low here on RB, SMT. So reversal. Then we look for a new fractal continuation like I explained. This is the C2 formation here, C3, 4, 5, 6. So we can look for a C1, C2 formation again. That's what we're getting here. This is the first opportunity to trade the reversal, C2 or C1, C2 continuation, but we form a C2 reversal here once again. And we can clearly see every time we do this, we do not invalidate this low, we do not invalidate this low, we have a C2 here again, we do not invalidate this low, and once again, we do not invalidate this low, and we do not invalidate this low. So every time we make a C2 reversal signature, we do not invalidate that low until we took our target, right, this high. So this is basically a very good example on the continuations when we miss the reversal down there, but we can look for a continuation. We are taking these relevant high, but we are failing to actually reverse here, so we can look for continuations within these candles. So this is basically the examples of how I apply this reversal and continuation on the 1 hour and 30 minute when everything is aligned from daily to 4 hour to the 1 hour and 30 minute. So my next video will be about how to find entries within those continuation or reversal signatures. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and make sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel, since I'm already working on the next video about the entries, right? See y'all later.